So last day, we started talking about dividing fractions. And we said that we don't actually divide fractions, we multiply fractions. In order to turn a division question into a multiplying question, we flip that second fraction. So the first fraction stays the same, we flip the second fraction, and that flipping process, the math word for it is called reciprocal. Then, once we have flipped it, we look to simplify. You see if there's a number or a factor that can divide the top and bottom, and we try to make it smaller. All right? So now we have a few more questions just to practice with and some word problems. All right? So the first one, it's a division question. I want to turn it into a multiplication question. Which fraction do I flip? The one on the left or the one on the right? The one on the right. This one gets flipped. 5/2. And the other one stays the same. It's always the one to the right. Okay. Now we look to see if we can simplify. Can we simplify in this situation here? Sorry? Bella, no. There's no number that can divide into a top and a bottom. So it is what it is. So we just simply combine the tops together and combine the bottoms together. So what do we have?
15 over 8.
Yeah. Multiply the two top numbers, 15. Multiply the two bottom numbers, 8. All right. And there we go. All right. Next one. What's the first fraction look like? What does the second fraction look like? Adam.
The first one looks like 3/7. The next one looks like 5/6.
Thank you. Any simplifying we can do this time? Adam.
6 and 3.
6 and 3. So when we cross off, remember we cross off in pairs. And what can we divide both of these numbers by? Nick?
3.
3. So the first one divided by 3 leaves us with a 1. 6 divided by 3 leaves us with a 2. Is there anything else that we can simplify? That's it. So we multiply. What do we have on the top? What do we have on the bottom? 5/14. Excellent. The next one gets a little tricky. Who remembers how to do this one? Our first number doesn't have a fraction. Maya. Yeah. So if it's not a fraction, thank you, Maya, we put it over 1. Okay, so I want to change this into a multiplication statement. All right? So what's the first fraction look like? What does the second fraction look like? Nick?
6 over 1 and 3/2.
Excellent. Okay. Any simplifying we can do? Maya?
You can do 6 and 2.
6 and 2. So cross off 6, cross off 2. 1 on the bottom, 1 on the top. Maya, what can we divide both of these by?
2.
2. Okay, so I divide the first one by 2, and I'm left with a 3. 2 divided by 2, I'm left with a 1. Anything else we can do? I got 2 3s sitting there. Can we simplify those?
No.
Oh, that's so nice to hear. Yes, you can't do this. Excellent. So many people, even some of my grade 9s are having difficulties with that, remembering that. Excellent. I love this class. You guys are fun. Okay, so we multiply the tops together. We have a 9/1. Now, it is great. Now, this 9/1 can be cleaned up a little bit. Yes?
You just change it to 9.
Just change it to 9. Just give it as a whole number. Just as we started as this is a 6 and we changed it into a fraction to make the math a little bit easier here, this is kind of not needed over 1. Right? So we just leave it as a whole number. Now I'm going to add a second question in next question in here. All right? Uses blank space. This can handle it. So what if I had a question that looks like this, and I'm making this up as I go along. This goes. Okay. So I'm giving you 3 terms this time. Right? So a little bit more difficult. Right? Nicholas?
When you flip the second number or the third?
That's the question. So So we want to get rid of this division. Which fraction do we flip? Lucas?
9 and 16.
Yeah, the one immediately to the right of it. Not two down, or not all of them, just the one right next to it. So this first one stays the same. We turn that division into a multiplication. That means the next fraction flips. We got 16 over 9 times the third one. What's the third one look like? Yeah, 15 over 7. That one doesn't change. The sign before it was a multiplication sign, so it didn't need to change. Okay, so now we look to simplify. And it's any top versus any bottom. We did a question like these before, right? With like 3 terms. So do you see any simplifying that can take place here? Bella?
The 3 and the 9 turns into the 3 and the 3 turns into the 1.
Okay, 3 and a 9, and Bella said divide both of these by 3. So 1, and 9 divided by 3 is 3. Caitlin, I saw your hand. Do you see a different one?
4 and 16.
4 and 16, yeah. And what can we divide both 4 and 16 by? Sorry?
4.
Yeah, so 4 divided by 4 leaves us with a 1, and 16 divided by 4 leaves us with a 4. Is there anything else? Ryan?
3 and the 15.
The 3 and the 15, okay? I'm going to cancel out the 3 and the 15, and what are we dividing the 3 and the 15 by, Ryan? 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, 15 divided by 3 is 5. Okay, yes?
20 over 7.
Yeah, so now it's reduced. We multiply the top numbers together. 1 times 4 is 4, times 5 gives us a 20. 1 times 1 is 1, times 7 gives us a 7. That's about as hard as it gets for this kind of stuff. The only way I can make it harder is by making some of these like mixed numbers, right? Which we'll probably do. I think that's the next lesson over, right? You can handle that. You got the gist of it. Okay. Word problem, and we will just do the first one, and we'll leave the second one off for today. Okay. So question goes: Riley used 3/4 of a jar of pasta, okay, to make 6 servings of pasta. Whenever I see a number, I start highlighting it because you know you're going to be using it later on. He used the same amount of sauce in each serving. What fraction of the jar of pasta did he use for each serving? Okay? So let's just talk about this. So let's assume he used a cup and he had 2 servings. How much did you use in each serving? Half a cup. You go 1 divided by 2. If he had 3 servings and a cup of pasta, how much does he use in each serving? A third. 1 divided by number of servings. So what we're doing is amount of pasta that you have divided by number of servings. Right? That's the logical thing, right? You have $50, you give it to 2 friends evenly, 50 divided by 2, so each person gets 25. In this case, we're just dealing with fractions. So how much pasta do we have? We have 3/4.
Pasta sauce.
Yeah, your pasta sauce. Yeah, because pasta would be the noodle.
Divided by 6, so you flipping would be 1 over 6.
Yeah, divided by 6, because we have 6 servings. And yes, so Bella recognized right away, that's not a fraction, so we go 6 over 1. Okay.
Then wouldn't you do 1 over 6?
Yeah, now we flip it. We go 1 over 6. So we go 3/4 times 1 over 6. Is there any simplifying that we can do? Adam? 6 and the 3. Divide those by 3, right? And so you got a 1 and a 2. Is there anything else?
No.
That's it. So, what does that equal? 1 over 8. So now, what does this 1 over 8 mean?
You use 8 of the jar for
8
Yeah, eighth of the jar for each serving. So we do a little statement. Riley used 1/8 of the jar for each serving. Okay? And that's it. Okay. So, as for our assignment for today, what do we have? We have this assignment, and I'll say let's just focus on the math question. There's 2 word problems, question 3 and 4. On the top here, you can skip the word problems. Okay, just focus on the math question. So a bunch of dividing questions, just simplifying, and I'll leave you to that.